The Red Sox kicked off the week on a high note with a 4-0 win on a bullpen day, no less, against the Tampa Bay Rays at Fenway Park on Monday afternoon.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Red Sox podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement rings, so use code Locked On at checkout. I'm your host today, NESN's Lauren Campbell. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. Jake is away with the Pirates. He is preparing to go to the Bay Area this week as the Massachusetts Pirates continue their season. So today we will recap Monday's shutout win and how Kutter Crawford pretty much played hero for the Red Sox. And we'll also chat with WooSox broadcast producer and my fiance, Derrick Wiland, as Brayan Bello gets set to make his MLB debut with the Red Sox on Wednesday, the same day that Chris Sale will pitch for the WooSox. Talk about a full circle moment. We'll also provide some injury updates, Chris Sale, Garrett Whitlock, and Nate Eovaldi. And as always, we will end the show on the mental health minute. So let's talk Monday's game. Monday's game was absolutely probably something that was not expected from Red Sox fans. They were going in a little pessimistic because it was a bullpen day. Austin Davis did start the game, and fans understandably were pessimistic going in. It's against the strong AL East opponent, somebody you are competing with in the standings to keep your ground in the AL East. And Austin Davis did his job. He went through 2 innings, but the story here is Kutter Crawford, who was recalled on Monday from AAA Worcester, and he came in for relief, and boy, did he give the Red Sox some relief. He went 5 1/3 innings, and he struck out 8 batters. And when his afternoon was over, as you probably can imagine, the Fenway faithful gave him a standing ovation. And it was something really cool to see. He has not been with the organization, obviously, all season. He's shown flashes of his really strong potential in Worcester. And when you come in relief, when you know you're using your pitchers in a bullpen day and you have a relief pitcher, you probably think you're going to use 5 or 6 pitchers in a game like this. And Kutter Crawford can give you 5 1/3 inning. You want that. That's so encouraging to see. It was so fun to watch. And he was just in control. He looked very confident on the mound. And I was really excited to see him succeed. And, I too went into this game a little why are we kicking off a series against the Rays on a bullpen day? But I am not Alex Cora. I do not make those decisions. I am glad I don't make those decisions, though sometimes I think I could do better, but I don't get paid for that. But just to see him succeed on the mound was really, really awesome. And after the game, he said, it's something you kind of dream about, walking off the field and getting a standing ovation from 35,000 plus people, especially at Fenway. It was pretty special. And he came up, he was recalled because the Red Sox are just littered with injuries right now. Nate Eovaldi, Garrett Whitlock, there's just so many pitchers, Rich Hill, who are injured. And even though Nate Eovaldi and Garrett Whitlock are making progress, the progress has been a lot slower for the both of them. I think it was anticipated they both only missed the 15 days, and it's been beyond that. And they have expressed that Eovaldi's progress has been a lot slower than they originally thought. And Garrett Whitlock he pitched live BP and ended up taking a grounder off of his foot on Monday, and that ended his live BP a little early. As far as I can tell from reports from Boston Globe's Alex Spear, it does look like he avoided injury. There's not going to be a setback. It's just get him out of there. If there's a little bruise or if there's any kind of swelling, just get it under control right now. And it was nice to see Eovaldi out there as well to continue throwing his BP. Rich Hill was in the stands. He is wearing a knee brace. He is dealing with a knee sprain. So when you have 3 pitchers and Garrett Whitlock, who will go back into the bullpen when he returns to the lineup, and Kutter Crawford gives you reason to be optimistic about either keeping him for a little while longer or having him fill in maybe in a spot start or come in on a bullpen day again if you have to go that route there. So I'm really, really excited to see if Kutter Crawford gets more opportunities. Maybe he will be able to pitch Tuesday for the Red Sox against the Rays as they continue this homestand. And hopefully he can just continue to do what he's done. I think that Red Sox fans are given a little bit of an opportunity here to see a lot of their young pitchers and their depth that's been just talked about for the last few seasons. You have Brayan Bello coming up on Wednesday, who will start for the Red Sox. Kutter Crawford, you have Josh Winkowski, who has pitched very well after his not so great MLB debut. You have Connor Siebold, who also bounced back from a rough MLB debut with the Red Sox, and he has proven to be steady through his last start. And then you just have all these other young pitchers who are just proving themselves. And it's great to see because we saw how the pitching destroyed the Red Sox last year. Hell, we saw it how it destroyed the Red Sox in April and the beginning of May before things just started to turn around. So when you see the Crawfords, the Seabolds, the Winkowskis, when you see them pitch well, it makes you think, well, who's on the chopping block? It's probably the Saramoras. It's probably the Braziers. It's definitely not the Evaldis, the Rich Hills. I mean, Rich Hill maybe could go to the bullpen, but he has pitched for the most part pretty well. But when you go into a game and you start a homestand, you always want to start it off strong, especially against an AL East team like the Tampa Bay Rays. And now the Red Sox have the momentum once again in their favor. If they can beat the Rays on Tuesday, they can continue this winning streak. They can extend it to 3. And they can continue this momentum. The Red Sox have yet to win a series against an AL East opponent. They truly should have won the series against the Blue Jays, but they let it get away. We saw the bullpen implode against the Cubs. And it just, on Monday, it just seemed to kind of erase all of that because the pitching shut out the Tampa Bay Rays, a very good Tampa Bay Rays team. The offense came in clutch when they truly needed it. And they did this without Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts was not in the lineup on Monday. He did suffer the thigh laceration that needed 7 stitches on Sunday against the Cubs. He is back in the lineup on Tuesday, so that is great to see. Hopefully there is no setback there. Hopefully that the stitches hold up and that his leg feels strong enough. I don't think he would be in the lineup if he felt otherwise. So great to see him back in the lineup for Tuesday. And I'm excited to see, I doubt Crawford will pitch again on Tuesday. I don't think that they'll use his arm again after going 5 1/3. However, stranger things have happened. So you just never know. But a great way to kick off this homestand. And what's even more exciting about this homestand is that Red Sox fans will finally see Brayan Bello at Fenway Park. What a place to make your debut at. What a team to make your debut against. Brayan Bello will start Wednesday's game, and he is very excited. He told reporters after Monday's WooSox win that he's just excited to get to Fenway Park. He wants to put in the work. He wants to show the fans what he can do. And we will talk to WooSox broadcast producer, and he just so happens to be my fiance, Derrick Wiland, in our second segment of the Locked On Red Sox podcast after I tell you about Blue Nile. Because at BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments from creating the custom engagement ring of your partner's dreams to gifting a classic timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. Whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a special milestone, find jewelry as unique as them with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, the size, and the clarity, as well as the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft the perfect engagement ring, and each ring is one of a kind. Make your moment sparkle as bright as the ring with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement rings as well. Use code LOCKEDON. That is code LOCKEDON. Plus, every order is insured, it ships free, and arrives in a discreet package that will not give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. With the debut of Brayan Bello coming on Wednesday comes the return of WooSox broadcast producer, and he just so happens to be my fiance, Derrick Wiland. Derrick, welcome back to the show. And this time we're going to be talking about Bello being with the Red Sox instead of being with the WooSox. So it's kind of like a full circle moment because Chris Sale is going to be pitching on Wednesday for Worcester while Bello is here in Boston.
Yeah, this is almost like I don't know. The Red Sox pitching is almost at a crossroads, or it's a key point for them. Like you said, Bello's going up there, Sale's down in Worcester. So the future is up there. The past, the ace or whatever, is down on the farm. It's a pivotal moment that we'll look back on either later this season or in a couple of years and kind of make whatever we'll see where we're at in the road at that point in time.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Alex Cora said on Monday after Monday's win that he's really enjoying these young pitchers, the Josh Winkowskis, the Kutter Crawfords, the Connor Seabolds, who you've spent a lot of time watching this season, of course. And now they're kind of giving him, Alex Cora, decisions to make down the road because they do have injuries here with Nate Eovaldi. Obviously, you're not sending Nate Eovaldi to Worcester or anything like that. But there are some decisions to make here. This Rich Hill. There's also Ryan Brazier, Saramora. Where do those guys belong? If Brayan Bello can produce how he has in Worcester, plus the return of Sale, like there's a lot of hope here surrounding the farm, especially if Bello pitches well Wednesday.
It's getting to be a numbers game, right? There's only so many jobs to go around, and there's a lot of guys that have arms that can produce at the big league level. The Bello situation, yeah, we'll have to see what comes out of that. At some point with him in particular, because he's so young, they are going to want to limit his innings. So him being a starter down the stretch and into the playoffs, probably not how it's going to play out long term. He might get a couple starts here and there. They might do that thing where, they skip him in the rotation a few times, or maybe he's just a spot starter. That could be potentially the long term for the rest of the season plan based on how tomorrow goes. Some of the other guys you mentioned, they have a few more innings under their belt over the years. They probably can carry that load a little bit more, at least a little further. But it's exciting to see what's going to come out of tomorrow. And as you mentioned, some of those guys as well, especially the two that come to mind are Winkowski and Seabold, who've had a lot of different success at the AAA level this season. Different kind of success than Bello's had, but they've had success there. Seabold has one of the best ERAs in the International League. When you go by his innings, I think it's minimum 50 innings. And we saw both he and Winkowski have a rough first start and then kind of figure it out in the second time around. So we'll see if that's what happens for Bello or not. That's kind of one of the things to watch for tomorrow.
So, like I mentioned, you are someone who has watched these pitchers closely, particularly Bello. If anyone follows you on Twitter, they know that you are constantly updating his numbers and just really keeping an eye on him. And you and I got to watch him pitch as fans last weekend at Polar Park. So what do you think fans can expect out of Bello? Because there's a lot of hype around him. This isn't not a shot at Seabold or Winkowski here, but there's so much hype around Bello because he's just cruised through the minors. So should fans expect, the 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, or you mentioned maybe limiting him? What can fans expect Wednesday?
Yeah, there's a lot of expectations. The hype train just pulled into the station. This guy is at last check on Baseball America, number 47 ranked prospect in all of baseball. He's the Red Sox number 1 pitching prospect. The hype is real, and it's earned. He's been very, very good. He started the season in Double-A, blew through hitters down there, came to Triple-A, hasn't had much trouble there. As I mentioned before with Winkowski and Seabold, we've seen it. They come up to the majors. The balls are a little different. I remember Winkowski said he's never described a baseball this way, but it felt damp, which is a very strange way to call baseball. But the balls are different. The atmosphere is different. Everything's different. You're coming up. You're going to make a start at Fenway Park. It's been around for 110 years. It's just different. The fans are different. Everything. That said, I think you'll see something in between. I don't know that he'll have as much trouble as Winkowski and Seabold did, but I don't think you're going to see 6 innings, 8 Ks. I think you temper your expectations to more like, if he goes 4 innings, 3 or 4 runs, gets 5 strikeouts, I think that's a good debut. He's really young. He started in Double-A this season. Like, he's moving very, very fast. If he gives you that in his debut, that's not bad. I mean, you're getting out there and seeing what he does. I think the bigger takeaway is to see how he responds the second time through the order and how he responds coming off the start. That was the big thing for Winkowski and Siebold. They responded well coming off that first start. What does Bello do coming off of this first start? Not to get too far down the road. Obviously, tomorrow's the exciting thing, and we want to see what he does. As far as the game itself goes, this guy works fast. Super, super fast.
Very fast.
Something to watch for on the broadcast tomorrow on NESN if you're watching. And this is no shot at anybody. I know people at NESN. There's no shot at anybody at NESN. Watch, especially in the first inning, if they have trouble getting out of replays in time. That happened to us on the WooSox broadcast. He works so fast. At AAA, we're used to the pitch clock. They only have 19 seconds before they get to the next thing. He was taking half of that. We were having trouble getting out of replays. We started opting out of using them on certain things. So that's something to watch for. Just to put it in perspective for fans at home, if you see NESN in the first inning trying to do replays of pitches and fouls and not being able to finish them, that's how fast this guy works. Super, super fast.
And for somebody, I was somebody who was very, pitch clock doesn't change the game. This is dumb. And I was very wrong. And that is okay. I'm very okay to be wrong because it makes such a difference. Even when you take the full 19 seconds, it still makes such a difference in the game. But then Bello's using 9-10 seconds. Like, I think too, maybe it's not going overlooked, but he's facing a Rays team, a very strong Rays team, a team that the Red Sox are competing with in the AL East. This is a big test for him. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him, probably just from himself and the fans and the Rays lineup. There's always going to be people in that Rays lineup that are just Red Sox killers. And maybe Bello working as quick as he does is going to work in his favor because the Rays aren't used to pitchers working this fast.
I think it's many of the major league hitters are not going to be used to a guy working this fast. Chris Sale works fast. I think this guy works faster. Bello works faster.
It's like God works hard, but the internet works harder.
Yeah. So he's going to, at least for the first inning, plus there's no real book out on him. So for the first couple innings, the potential is there. He could blow him away. It's the second time through the order when they make the adjustment to see where that goes. But he has faced a couple major leaguers on rehab assignment. He made Eloy Jimenez look silly. I think he did end up getting a hit, but I think he had 2 Ks. I think he finally got a hit the third time around. I think he also faced Candelario from the Tigers organization, which also he had no issue with him as either. So it's promising stuff that he's faced some of these guys going through rehab. And I know it's a little different. They're working on certain things as well. But he didn't have much issue with them. He also faced number 2 prospect in all baseball, Riley Green, who's now with the Tigers back in June. He got called up in the middle of that series. He looked overmatched as well. So the hype is real. Bello is the real deal. The stuff is good. He gets compared to Pedro a lot. I think people want another Pedro, so I don't know if that's fully fair. But Pedro did help him out with his changeup. I know Fernando Rodney also helped him out with some grips as well. So there are major leaguers helping this guy because they see something in him.
And the right major leaguers that you would want helping someone like Bello who has all this hype around him. And as we mentioned, like we said, it's kind of a full circle moment because Chris Sale will make hopefully what will be his final rehab assignment in Worcester. You will, of course, be at the game. What are you expecting from Sale here? The plan is for him to go 5 innings. Do you think he goes that full 5?
I think so, based on he was only supposed to go 3 in Portland. He went 4 because he was so efficient.
So he'll go 6 in Worcester.
I don't know if he'll get 6 out. Yeah, it's kind of like this weird serendipitous moment, right, where he's down there, as I said before, and Bello's up there. Viewers are going to have a tough decision. You got Sale on NESN Plus with the WooSox. That starts at 6:45, and then Bello. First pitch, I think, is 7:07 on NESN. So Have the remote ready. You can flip back and forth and watch both of them. Hopefully Sale goes 5. He has said this is different than last year. Last year he was looking for the tools. This year he's just sharpening them. So he feels a lot more confident. This will be a really good test to him. I know I talked to Pete Abraham today, and you can catch him on our pregame show on NESN Plus at 6:30 tomorrow. But he basically said, this could be a little different than AA because these guys, they're not as free of swingers as maybe the AA guys. Some of the guys in AAA are either major leaguers that are kind of on the cusp or guys that are trying to crack into the major leagues. So they're going to be a little bit more patient and kind of take their time and really, for their own benefit too, use this. The younger guys may use it as a learning experience with Sale, and the older guys are going to show that they can still hit a major league pitcher. So he's going to have a little bit more challenge, but I think he can get through at least 4, probably 5, without too much effort. And I think if he gets to 5, I think the Sox are going to bring him up right away. They have some issues in the rotation right now, and you'd rather Sale come up and give you 4+, 5+, and be, pretty good rather than trying to string it together with some of these other kind of unknown options.
Definitely. And one more thing before I let you go, I'm going to put you on the spot right here. Give me Bello's final line.
Man, this could go any way. I think just because it's such a big jump, there's a lot of adrenaline. Seen a couple guys struggle with it this year. I'm going to say he goes 4 1/3, 4 runs, 5 Ks.
Still not bad. If he gets into the 5th and could give the Red Sox a chance to win, I think fans should take it. But we've seen crazier things, right? I mean, we saw Clay Buchholz throw a no-hitter in his second start in MLB. So we never know what can happen. Derrick, you are an impossible get to be on this show. Let me tell you, you're very difficult to get. Where can people find you on Twitter, at Polar Park? Where can people find you putzing around?
Twitter, it's at Derrick Wiland. Polar Park. Generally, I'm up in the broadcast room. You might see me scurrying down after the game to help break down a camera, something like that. I try to post ballpark views every day. It's a little fun thing I do. So check me out on Twitter for that. You can get some interesting pics. I'll repost the pic I took when you and I went to a game a couple weeks back of Bello warming up in the pen. It's kind of a cool shot looking down. So I'll repost that tomorrow just for his in honor of his debut. And hopefully I'll get one of Sale too.
And can confirm you worked very hard to get that Bello angle, get that picture. You were very determined, and you certainly got a good shot. Derrick, thank you for joining the Locked On Red Sox podcast. Once again, thank you to Derrick for joining the show and discussing all things Brayan Bello. We will end this show, as we always do, on the Mental Health Minute. But first, I want to tell you about Rock Auto, because with the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's now nearly impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless, seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts off their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse just so happens to carry, when you have access to rockauto.com right at home or in your pocket? Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Rock Auto's prices are reliably low for every customer, and they have everything you could ever need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box, so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. So as always, like I said, we will end the show on the Mental Health Minute. And Tuesday is my Monday. It's when I go back to work, and it's when I start my week. And it was a really, really tough day. I'm not going to lie. It started off really good, and it just became progressively worse throughout the day. I just felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I was taking a lot of things personally, which I knew I shouldn't have. And I just stepped away for a little while, and I just went for a little walk. It was kind of humid and raining at that point, around like 1 o'clock, I think it was. So I decided to just go for a small walk around the building and just kind of clear my mind, and just reminded myself that everything is temporary. What I'm feeling right now is temporary. I talked to Jake a little bit this morning just about life and how hectic it can get. He is getting set to head out to the Bay Area with the Massachusetts Pirates, so he completely understands just how hectic days can get. And I really appreciate him, A, listening, and B, just really taking the reins for the show last week when I had a lot going on and that he has a lot going on. And today was just a reminder that it's okay to slow down, take a deep breath, and just remind yourself, like I said, everything is temporary. These feelings will go away. The day will get better. And if it doesn't, tomorrow is a new day. It's a brand new opportunity to start fresh. And it's something that I am still learning as a 32-year-old. And I'm going to continue to learn that, because today is not the last bad day I'm going to have. I wish it was, because that would just make my life so much easier. But we're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have days where things just get to us a little more than usual. And today was one of those days. But as always, coming on Locked On Red Sox to talk baseball with you is something that I always look forward to. And no matter how bad my day gets, this is something I constantly look forward to, and something that keeps my mood up and keeps me from just going into a spiral of being like, throw the whole day away and start again tomorrow. But I will end the show there. Thank you, as always, for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen. Rate, review, and subscribe to Locked On Red Sox right here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast is where you can find us. Make sure to check out all the other Locked On shows across the network: Locked On A's, Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays. Everyone does a great job. We love bringing you your baseball content Monday through Friday. Be sure to check back for Wednesday's episode. We will replay Derrick's segment leading up to Brayan Bello's debut. I believe, doing an exclusive crossover, a special crossover with friend of the pod, Paul Francis Sullivan. Let's just call him Sully. I've known him long enough. That's like my BFF. So we are excited to bring you more baseball content. It's been a while since Sully and I have done a crossover. So make sure you listen in for that for Thursday's episode. I told you Wednesday. It will be Thursday's episode. Tomorrow's episode will be a recap of Tuesday's game. Hopefully the rain holds off. There is some rain in the forecast. It is super humid in Boston. And my hair, if you're watching, it's doing its own thing today. It doesn't look as bad as this video is showing. I'm very grateful for that. But hopefully the rain holds off for Tuesday so we can talk about Wednesday's game. Hopefully it will be another win. And now that you've made Locked On Red Sox your first listen today, be sure to check out Locked On MLB Prospects, because host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the stars of tomorrow, much like Brayan Bello. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this Tuesday episode of Locked On Red Sox. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Let's go Red Sox.